All right, welcome. Today we're going to be working on a variety of things. The biggest one is probably going to be ISO work. In particular, we're going to be talking about, I have an AI model now called Aiden. Let me explain how this works, or I guess it's not so much a model, but a front end, and I'll show you. If you're not familiar, I'm Sprungles. I've been around in the Linux community a while. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and check out my website or my YouTube channel as you see here, whatever it may be. And my apologies that I'm having to move around so much. But let's go ahead and get started. This is going to take some work. Let me go ahead and make sure our audio is going through my YouTube channel as you all right. As you can see here, we're going to go ahead and head on over. I need to check and make sure this is live because I was doing some networking today and it messed with quite a little bit of stuff. Cool. Good. Good. You'll notice that. Can't fix that really. It's good. That's good. Now we're going to look and make sure the GitLab's up. Cool. Good. Nextcloud should be up. Good. Mastodon should be up. The blue sky may still be down, but we'll see. Yes, the Mastodon's up. Good. Let's see if the blue sky is up yet. And log on primary page. Let's see. In order to tell, all you got to do, we do have a blue sky instance. You go to sign in, you go here, type in custom. You want to register for an account, you have to come talk to us in the Discord and I'll help you guys register. It just is to prevent bot spam. Unfortunately, I tried to have this public and that did lead to a lot of problems. So there we go. We'll go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and hit sign in. So let's see if it's working properly now or not. I was having a problem before. I got this. So yeah, the handle isn't writing properly. But you can see it is federated into the other instances. Still a bug. But you'll also notice you can go here to the XMPP if you wish to do so. It uses Converse as a front end. You can register yourself, and then there's Matrix here, which uses the Element front end for that. You see the loading times aren't perfect, but they're good enough. Let's see. It's actually taking a while. It was probably slugging, man. But yeah, you can see that works. And then we have our wiki. So now we got to start talking about Aiden, the AI model, or front end, not technically a model, and I'll show you why. So this is actually what I decided to do as an alternative to an actual wiki. In the year 2026, we don't technically need that. And there's the fact that the Arch wiki already exists, even if some of it is outdated. So what we did here, let's say we type in a topic like Firefox, make sure you type it in appropriately. You're going to go ahead and search the Arch wiki via their API, pull in the information, but then you'll see what happened right here. It's actually on the backside using a public open API node, excuse me, to translate everything in the common language, as you can see right here, so that people don't have to know what everything means. So, as you can see right here, literally just gives a little, essentially a manual page, but for the average person. In order to get out of this, you go back to the main page. Let's see. That's the main thing there, but then here is the real fun stuff. Oh, I need to actually do that. Helps if I actually show you what I'm doing. I am so sorry. These are just our resources. Let me go ahead and show you this one more time because I didn't have the stream going. My apologies on that. So let's say we type in Firefox, right? Go ahead and pull in the information. What it's doing right here You can see it just went and fetched out to the AI model, and then it went ahead and rewrote itself in a common language so that you and I can read it pretty easily, right? You want to go out of it, close the tab, and go back to the main page. But as you can see here, here is Aiden. What this uses on the back end is OpenRouter, a bunch of API access through my account. Don't worry about how I have it secured. I'm not telling you. To be honest, I kind of can't. But you'll see here, it says he's Aiden, the AcreetionOS assistant. They run on free community models via OpenRouter. They can help with installation, troubleshooting system specs, and anything based on AcreetionOS. So if you ask it something like, how do I install AcreetionOS? It'll take a second for it to load, but as you can see here, it says to install AcreetionOS, download the ISO from the website, create a bootable live USB boot from it, and use the graphical Calamares installer, and then boot into the live environment using systemd or syslinux, which is the default for the ISO. Launch Calamares from the desktop, follow the guided steps for partitioning, user setup and packages, and then it goes ahead and explains the rest here. As you can see, it's just indexing a bunch of documentation for the most part, and the way it's doing that is actually really interesting. So there is a collection of documentation that's about 4,500 pages-ish on the server side. That is pulling information from and spitting out to you guys using an AI model essentially as a sorting agent, I guess, if you want to call it that. But then you can ask, could you tell me what Firefox is or whatever it may be? And then you should have access to what the rest of the model has as well if you have any questions. Give it a second to load. It's actually the little icon down here, but it may take a moment. Again, these are free, so we don't expect perfection. And to be honest, it was the API. We did a paid model for this. That bill would rack up really fast. So, all right. Firefox is a popular open source web browser developed by the Mozilla Foundation. It's known for its fast browsing speed. So yeah, this is accurate information, but as you can see, it's just reading. So, all right, there is that. But now you're wondering about the AI model stuff that I mentioned at the very beginning of the stream. I'm gonna go ahead and close this off. You will notice I'm on my preferred desktop environment. AcreetionOS does come with the Cinema desktop. This is just my preference. You can put whatever you want on it. It is Arch-based, after all. So we go ahead and get this all set up here. Make sure, see if that's big enough. There we go. And we'll go ahead and head on over to our projects folder. I believe my Aiden model is in this. So let's see. Yes, in the Aiden desktop. Excuse me, I am so sorry. But as you can see here, we are still using OpenRouter as the backend resources. Because Aiden itself is not actually a model. Aiden wraps around the model so that you can have a very guided experience. The truth is, I'm the only one maintaining this part. I can't maintain an entire AI model by myself without destroying my sanity. So I'm not going to do that. I do the next best thing, and that's this. You'll see most of this is written in Python. It doesn't really matter what language we use. Not for this use case. So what we'll go ahead and do is open up open code, continue. I believe, there we go. My apologies if I get a little sweaty. It's kind of hot in here. I might grab my fan here. No, I don't want to grab my fan, or then you guys are going to be listening to a fan the whole stream. Yeah, no. Um, we're not going to use this model for what we're particularly doing. That's for a variety of reasons. Mainly because error. This is just a way of sorting into the one I want. No, no, no. I'll find it. That's it. Um, so we're gonna go ahead and list off the history and see what we were working on before, because we got to get this done. I've worked on this probably what 2, 3 sessions before. If this doesn't do its thing like it's supposed to, yeah, no, we'll use my DeepSeek model, which I pay for the API. DeepSeek reasoner. Try again. Gotta kill it, and we'll do that. Just something about the front end is like that. Um, I do pay for OpenAI. I pay for Grok. I pay for a variety of them just because of the things I do. If you do that, it'll just grab the most recent command and run it again. All right, so that's the entire. All right, what is in the initial commit? So you'll notice I just switched over to plan mode. We do not want to implement anything because we're going to go ahead and document down what we're going to be working on. We're going to be working on for a little bit. You'll notice it's already set up a Flatpak based build system as well as Debian. I do want to make sure this goes across all distros. Just because if you don't know, whenever you build software, it's not about what distro it goes to most of the time. You do it generally across distributions. It's generally what it is. So actually clarify that. I have to put it that way because, okay, this is probably going to end up being in C in its final form, and Windows shipped with a different C binary. They have a slightly different forked version of it. And I could probably convert it within like one command, but then we'll have bugs and everything else that I'd have to work out, and I don't really want to maintain that, to be honest. Plus, like, why are you using my AI on Windows? Wasn't the whole point to switch away from Windows? Yeah, excuse me. So it doesn't really matter for the source if it's based on Debian, Void, whatever, because this is all going to go into a Flatpak package anyways. It's all going to essentially use all the binaries that are packed into that package to be able to read from. So you don't have to worry too much. Um, um, about potential feature sets. So you know how there is um, just as kind of a pivot while we're working on this. I'm gonna go ahead and open up another tab. I want to show you something. So if we go into our projects folder, we can go into the ACE directory. If you're wanting to know what this is a fork of Git. So whenever, all right, so I'm going to explain something. Um, all right, so let's say we're going to our main branch is called main, right? This will break down into multiple sub branches, is how this works, right? Just like that. And we can say branch 1, branch 2. This is essentially how Git works. And then everything goes back up into main, where it all goes into a release branch, whatever it may be. What Ace does, which is a little bit different, is it does build on top of the idea of Git, but it goes ahead and does this. So we have branch 1, but then branch 1 can actually break down into sub branch 1, and then sub branch 1 can break down into secondary sub branch 1. The point is, it can actually go on infinitely like that. But with the way it's designed, it's all going to be tracked still. So whenever, let's say, you make another branch on the main layer, right, like this, right, the way it works is it goes branch 2, sub branch 2, right, and then again secondary sub branch 2, so on and so forth. But the thing is, this would not have been feasible in the 1990s when Git was first made, right? Because computers had come out much before the 80s, but in the 80s they started becoming semi-common in the home. And where were these usually found? In colleges, sometimes schools, and usually if you had a lot of money in your home. So, but then in the 90s, things started getting a lot more accepted in the home. Things started becoming more affordable. Affordable meaning $2-3 still, but at least possible. But now in the year 2026, you can go get a really decent but not great computer for like $100 used, and it can run this whole idea more than feasibly. That's a lot of it. Plus, so Ace itself is not entirely original. So if you're not aware, Git and Mercurial, which is Mozilla's alternative to Git, are very similar in a lot of ways. Ace is completely compatible with them. You can they're 100% interchangeable. They have the same command structure, even for the most part. But again, the whole point was to add more expandability so that people can build down. I don't think Git has that ability right now, to be honest. And if it does, then it's a little too complicated to use. The way I've done it is pretty straightforward. And as you can see, it's documented. And the cool thing is, let's say we have our main branch, right? And you go ahead and do branch 2. You can still do sub branch 2 based on branch 2, but if you really wanted to, for whatever reason, if you need to, you can still track a sub branch, let's say 1 part 2, based off of this one above. Like that, if you absolutely have to. I highly recommend you don't do it this way, but if you want to, you can, and you know there's going to be niche situations where you need to, depending on whatever environment you're in. But yeah, no, you can absolutely do this. I the other day was just like, I can't keep using a tool that's not doing what I need it to do. So I was just like, okay, I sat down for what was it, 8, 9 hours with multiple AI models and just went, okay, let's talk through this. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. We're going to go through this. I explained my needs within the Android context, as well as one external development, as well as um, AcreetionOS development. Because there's a few things such as Pac-Man that I'm going to rewrite for the most part. Not because it's a bad utility, but because some of the issues I've had with things like Cloudflare tunnels have been quite irritating to deal with. So I don't want to have to continue to deal with those issues. But in order to do something like that, I need to be able to track upstream efficiently with multiple sub branches so I can cherry pick things much easier. Um, that's kind of the whole use case of this. Plus, I am still trying to maintain that Firefox fork, and if anybody out there has ever maintained a Chromium or Firefox-based browser, yeah, you know the pain. So yeah, that's the concept of ACE. Why did I mention that though? Um, I was waiting for this to finish, so yes, they should ship us separate sub packages with front complexity. The web UI should strictly be a uh, Gecko plus Tari app, not a true web app. And here's why. I don't want people just jumping in a browser and continuously using it. I want them to use it on their desktop. Because I'm actually going to give this Tari app system level access. Yeah, and I'll explain a little bit more why in a minute. Um, Because if you look at where the general industry is going, it's not going to be you open a browser with your mouse anymore or just type in the word Firefox. It's going to be, all right, Aiden or ChatGPT or whatever it may be. Would you please open the browser and let's do this? Or it's going to say, oh, I have a recipe I need to find. Could you please find it for me? And it's just going to go do it for you. And you're going to watch it do it. That's generally where it's going. You're not going to have to know how to do anything. Um, yes, let's do a textual TUI. The TUI is going to be generally for developers. The actual Electron app will be for the average person that's using it. The TUI is going to probably have some more debug options that the GUI counterparts are going to have. It's just like how, excuse me, you strip out a lot of the debug leftovers whenever you ship a binary. Same concept. It's fine. Those two front ends should have no user authentication. I'm not gonna have you guys sign up for an account. I have no want for that. I don't want that information. The only reason I would do that is if the US government made us. We can't really fight that one. Alright. Again, I'm sorry if I'm sweating like a pig tonight. Yeah, yeah, no. No. We are going to patch our own. We use Gecko. I specifically want Gecko for some of its performance enhancements over WebKit. I don't like WebKit, and Chromium uses Blink, and Blink is incredibly bloated. That's why I specifically chose Gecko. I don't care if it's complicated or not. I don't care. It's good. It's using Rust. Okay, that's totally fine. Yes, we will use. That's fine. Svelte's fine. I would. Nah, we're gonna use React and Vue, I think. Fine. I was gonna do that because I'm more familiar with React and Vue. Um, Svelte's fine. We'll use Svelte. You to also look at let's see. Alright, nothing. Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine for the bitrate. I'm not too worried about it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull in the color scheme. It's totally fine. That's why we let you guys scan it and scan it and everything. I'm not gonna hide my code from you guys when it comes to the website. Yeah, no, it's just gonna go look at those and then grab them for inspiration. We'll have our own um, theme for it. I'm also gonna reorganize some of the button layout probably. Some of that's a little generic and not okay in my opinion. I just want to see what the final result looks like before I do anything though. Please make sure to put credits where credits are due within the application. Now it's asking me questions, process manager depth. Yes, the AI should have full system access. However, the user must accept an agreement upon first use that they are responsible for whatever they do with Aiden. I'm not going to be liable for somebody else's hardware. I'm sorry. Code execution in chat. Yes, code execution in chat is more than reasonable. Yes, image generation is reasonable. We are going to make sure that they can open up your other API options under a developer menu as well. And then custom presets. The presets themselves, I would like you to please make 5. All right. We got to make sure we give credit to the different open source projects we're using and other organizations that we're using their resources for. I don't want to have people think we're doing something wrong. So let me show you guys something. What is it called? John uses the term all the time. It's called a harness. I would rather not get in trouble. See. Right, you entered that audit export format. Alright, but yeah, no, I mean, we're gonna keep working. Alright, I just saw something I don't like. No, I don't like this. Information between nodes should be encrypted. SHA 512. I don't like you. Please make them have a auth key on the local LAN by using a independent verification code upon start via their SSH key using their SSH key ring for them to put in their password for authentication. So I know that seems a little weird. So what it would do is essentially go, okay, my name's Bob. I need to reach over to Aiden. All right, my friend Aiden here. Okay, we need a way of identifying Aiden. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this uniquely generated SSH key. Oh, wait, I need permission to use the SSH key. So let's authenticate that way through their keyring. Something like GNOME keyring or like K-Wallet would be able to authenticate it appropriately. So really silly way to do it, but it would work for now. I will probably work on that more later and do a different way around. Um, uh, all right, we're gonna go ahead and look. Um, yeah, no, clarification. I know shop, I pulled the hash. If it is the first time, key selection step, give them the option to use a currently existing key or let them generate a separate one. Node whitelist should discover nodes auto connect in a vert environment. Covered nodes auto connect once authenticated. Or should there be an accept or reject node prompt on first contact from an unknown fingerprint? Do a accept reject node option, but make sure a message is sent to both hosts for each other. Because okay, my biggest concern is if they both don't accept it, is that, okay, let's say somebody does like a man in the middle attack on it, then somebody could pretend to be Barbara here trying to talk to me via that, and I accept it thinking it's Barbara. But if I can get proof that it's Barbara, then it's going to be better. If you know anything about XMPP, that's how that works as well. All right, now we start. Ooh, woo, ah, wah, pat, pat. I know, I'm silly. God, it's hot in here. We're just gonna keep working. But this is the reason I like using their APIs, okay? If you like here, it's only taken 6 cents. I've been working on this for how long? I don't know. How long have it? Sure. 40 minutes? I mean, that's pretty good. I'm just saying. This is the DeepSeek API, so I see people go, "Oh, it's a Chinese-based model." I mean, I don't really care. They're all based off of each other anymore because they're using distillation to train them now. So does it really matter that much? That's just kind of my opinion. I know I see all this stuff with politics right now. Oh my God, we need to not have Chinese this, Chinese that. And I don't really care. You tell me a U.S. router-based manufacturer, not just not just based here, but also produces all of their stuff here. You can't find one. Good luck. Most of them build things on places like Thailand or Vietnam. A lot of routers are actually not made in China, believe it or not. So some of this current stuff is bullshit. But I'll leave it at that. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get off. I'm just getting too hot and I need to lay down. I'm exhausted. So I'll stream some more tomorrow.